Good morning, guys. I hope you're all doing well. I just wanted to come and chat with you today for a multitude of reasons. One of them being something I've said many a time, and I'll say it again because it bears repeating, um, that uh, there warrants a historical record, a documentation of your existence as an individual. And since only about 1% of all ancient literature has survived the test of time. And what I mean by that is it hasn't been destroyed, right? Whether it be from barbarians conquering various parts of the world, deliberate burning of the literature, or just accidental decay and forgetting to fix it. We stand at a very valuable point in history where we have the ability to record and maintain nearly perfect fidelity documentation of our history. And it is incumbent upon us to recognize the uh, incredible value of that and take advantage of it. So even if I am shadow banned on YouTube, and even if my videos are only being viewed maybe half a dozen times by half a dozen people, despite the fact that I have almost 600 videos up on YouTube, that's still half a dozen people that are seeing it that wouldn't otherwise. Disparate locations about the earth, and perhaps a handful of them will copy my videos onto their own hard drives and create a decentralized redundancy for me. I'd be happy to do the same with them if they requested. It's not very hard to do, and each one of us is our own historical record, our own Dead Sea Scrolls, to especially our own personal descendants. But in the future, there could potentially be hundreds of billions, trillions, even more people for every single person that lives on Earth today. And no doubt, there will be a perfect catalog of the lives of every single individual living today. At least every single individual living today that has any information that can be found. So while YouTube might pop at some point in the future and all of its data be erased, uh, there's also Rumble, there's BitChute, there's Vimeo, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, even. Um, you name it. There's a plethora of different social media and networking sites that, as long as you put your information out there, that you exist, is valuable to do so. So that's one of the reasons I did it. I'm coming to you today. I recently unprivated a huge sum of my videos, again, for a variety of reasons. Because one, I'm trying to see if YouTube will take me off their shadow banning list, or if they did, and will allow my videos to start getting views and my channel to stop losing subscribers every time I post a video. We'll see. It remains to be seen what's going to happen. The fact that my channel had 1,500 subscribers at one point, and then it started to die off. My channel's still being starved, it looks like. And I get less views than a person with 30 subscribers on their channel. It doesn't make much sense. And this is regardless of the quality of the content I produce. So here I am, just even something as simple as creating a catalog of whatever I'm doing in my daily life, showing my face, knowing what I looked like, is valuable for future people who want to see that stuff. You can figure out certain things, glean certain things from ordered physiognomies, stuff like that. You know, Now, of course, we want to be the signal in the noise. And if there's no pattern to discern from the past, you can't use any of it. So be a pattern in your own life. And that'll be enough for the future. You might not see it now, but the chaos and entropy that is the forces that we fight against day to day needs some type of rampart. And that rampart is you, even if you cannot see it right now. Even if you never reap the benefits of it right now, your descendants will. So here I am. I have unprivated all my videos on my channel, gotten rid of any copyrighted material to give myself yet more of a shot at being remonetized for my channel. Though they changed the parameters since the last time I was monetized. I need at least 4,000 hours of watched content over the course of a 365-day period. And I had well more than that before I was shadow banned. Even with that requirement not having been there before. So if I have more videos, even if each one of them is getting viewed once a day, and it's like 2/3 of it or less is getting viewed, that's still adding significant numbers of hours of watch time to my total watch time. But if they're all privated, then I can't get anything out of that. However, what is it? Some of the stuff that I said and did in the past was very different from the person that I am today. At least the way I presented it. You know, like in some of my videos, I'm shirtless. I think there's even one video a while back where I actually, showed my physique, stood up and did some flexes and stuff. I think this was when I was at the Air Force Academy to show progress while I was trying to lose weight at that time. I think I had gotten down to like 165 pounds. I'm 6'1", but I'm also at that time I was a distance runner. I can't do that anymore because of the peripheral vascular disease that's come about of unknown origin. But I did it back then. And this is also a historical documentation for myself of the progression of my own health, despite all the effort that I'm putting in to try to keep myself in shape and try to fight against any epigenetic and genetic issues I might have. This peripheral vascular disease, the leading theory by the hundreds of doctors that have taken a look at me at this point is that it's something congenital. It's a very, very, very rare disease that only a handful of people probably in the entire world have, and that's why they haven't been able to figure out what it is. They got me into this thing called they're trying to get me into this thing called the Undiagnosed Disease Network to get even more doctoral eyes on my problems, and to really pinpoint what's going on. And the best thing that they can do, the best thing they can figure is to get me a complete genomic sequencing to see which of my genes are malfunctioning that are causing this problem. There are other very, very fringe potentialities in terms of what's going on with me that still percolate in my mind. In a situation like this, anything has to be on the table. Everything has to be on the table. Throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at it to try to figure out what it is and take care of yourself. One of those being that my body could be being bombarded by resonant frequencies that's causing my vascular system to obliterate in the periphery of my body. The resonant frequency, natural frequency of veins and arteries is about 1 hertz, right? And for the body in general, I believe it's around 7 hertz. So if you bombard veins and arteries with a high enough amplitude 1 hertz frequency, and consistently enough, then you can actually cause them to disintegrate. So that's one of the fringe possibilities that is percolating through my mind. There are many other ideas. They thought it was Takayasu's arteritis for a while, and wasn't that. They thought it was what's it called again? Berger's disease. That's still the leading potentiality, but so far they've only been able to give me the generalized disease diagnosis of peripheral vascular disease. Um, and we don't know how far that will progress. The disease that I am facing is something that only, morbidly obese people that smoke and that are over the age of 50 tend to get. It makes no sense that I have it. None whatsoever, especially with my physical fitness background. Uh, yeah, so it's really weird. I did get the first signs of it, talking with one of my doctors about it. It was the head doctor of the rheumatology department at the VA health center here. And I remember having signs that I thought were very peculiar of what was going on. Basically, a few months into my time at the Air Force Academy, where I was losing upper body strength despite all of the exercising that I did. Now, I should have been getting stronger, because I've worked out consistently since that time and before that time. And even though I can't run anymore, I'm in the bed 18 to 20 hours per day. Basically, the only time I get up is when I'm walking on the treadmill to try my very hardest to revascularize my legs so that I can walk without claudication and without excruciating pain and numbness. Or the stationary workouts that I can do. So as long as I'm, planted and in a stationary position, there are certain workouts that I can do. Primarily the upper body. Now, my upper body has peripheral vascular disease as well. I have no pulses in my wrists or my brachial arteries. There's no pulse. It's not palpable. Basically, the only thing that's keeping my arms and hands alive is because I was so physically active earlier in life. I basically saved my arms and legs by building enough capillary strength and enough collaterals to keep feeding my arms and legs. If I hadn't done that, there were people that told me that I would have probably already lost my arms and legs by now. So there's a positive. There's always a silver lining to every storm cloud. And that's potentially why I still can do the upper body exercises that I do. Primarily, I do some stationary, heavy bag boxing, and I do a little bit of very light row machine, like it's super light. I maybe the resistance is like at 40 pounds. I do that for a little bit. And one of my doctors said to me yesterday, because I had my appointment yesterday, was one of the things that really sucks about your disorder, your disease, is that you can't see it physically. You look physically on the outside normal, and that is difficult for a multitude of reasons. Now, I have a huge scar going all the way down my right leg because they had to do bypass surgery for me to save my foot because I was about to lose my toe. There was this cyst that wouldn't heal. It was actually an ulcer that wouldn't heal on my fifth toe of my right foot, and it was because I wasn't getting blood flow. Because of the peripheral vascular disease. So they had to do this bypass surgery as an emergency to save my toe. And ultimately, when it comes down to it, my foot in general. And I can not sing the praises enough about the doctors that did this work for me. I'm so grateful for all of it. Yeah, I have a giant scar, but it's the only outward or visible effect of the disease that I actually have. And it makes it very difficult. People look at me and they're like, some people will look at me and they're like, you're just trying to get attention, or this, that, and the other thing, or it's very, very frustrating. That's an invisible disease that I have, and then I also have PTSD from all the shit that the military put me through, and I've got plenty of videos on that that I unprivated on my channel. You can go ahead and look back at them if you want. Some of them are incomplete series because I didn't want to relive what I was dealing with. But that's another invisible disorder. People don't actually know what you went through and what's still going through your mind, your heart, and your soul on a daily basis. It's basically eating away at your soul. And that can manifest in a physical form. That might be some type of epigenetic manifestation of what's going on with my peripheral vascular disease in a way similar to the heartbreak disease, a real disease that people who have had their hearts broken show that they actually have a failure to thrive in their bodies, and many times they die because of the heartbreak. Their body just like won't heal. Their metabolism just slows down. They lose the will to live, and their body manifests that in their body shutting down. It's called the heartbreak disease, something to that effect. And I was telling my doctors at the VA hospital yesterday the feeling that I have in my body, my corporeal form, is like that. It's like a resistance to a deeply seated heartbreak that I only feel on or only know of on a subconscious level of the the visceral betrayal that I faced by people who I was supposed to be able to trust in the military and other institutions. And the only way I can talk about this in as even tone as I am right now is one, because I've compartmentalized so much of that, and I just keep it hidden in a part of my mind, heart, and soul to where my conscious mind is not aware of it, or isn't constantly thinking about it and repeating the traumas in my head. And then the other part of it is so the compartmentalization, like I said, and the other part of it is what was I going to say? Oh, the medication. Yeah, I take Prozac. I take a very high dose of Prozac, um, and because I need to. But yeah, um, and you're trying to make it obvious to people who need to see what's going on, exactly what's going on, it's difficult to do. Um, when your body's literally rotting from the inside out. I was watching this video by Wendigoon yet last night before I went to bed because it was very prescient and apropos, I suppose, of the most vile way, disturbing way to die. Basically, a guy back in 1999 at a JCU, Japanese nuclear power plant, or place where they make the uranium rods for the nuclear power plants, died a horrible, horrible death after 83 days of radiation poisoning, where his body was basically rotting, and he was still alive while it was happening. Um, his internal organs were liquefying, his muscles were liquefying, um, his mucosal membranes all disintegrated, his very muscles disintegrated, and he was just pooping out in diarrhea his very body because it melted from the radiation poisoning that he got. It was 20,000 millisieverts in a couple seconds, which is 20,000 times the recommended maximum amount of radiation that somebody should receive in a year. And it was absolutely astonishing that he lived as long as he did. And it got to the point where the doctors were wondering if he's even alive anymore, he was really just a robot that was being continued by that was being kept alive by all the machines that he was hooked up to. And when he finally did pass on after 83 days, all of his internal organs were inflamed, the ones that were still there. His kidneys had failed, his liver was about to fail, but his heart was totally fine. And they're thinking it's because he had a very, very profound will to live. He really, really wanted to live. And it was for his family, and the hope, the prayer was that about the time that he passed on, and perhaps before, that his nervous system had shut down and he was no longer feeling the pain. But we don't know. And I don't want to even slightly compare what I'm dealing with to that, because that's just unbelievably heartbreaking. But for all I know, it is. And I've just compartmentalized it to my subconscious mind and the heartbreak that I'm feeling from what happened. And what my subconscious mind is knowledgeable about what happened. Well, it just kind of hit me right there. My conscious mind it doesn't know the depth and the gravity of it. That the manifestations I'm getting are that connection between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. I don't know. But what I do know is Peyton Pearson, still very much have the will to live, and I'm doing every fucking thing I can think of to keep myself going. I'm throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, at this. Everything. Dogs are amazing. They're little angels. And human beings and canines have always had, great apes and canines have always had a very strong affinity towards one another, and for good reason. We have 7 dogs in our house because they are fucking awesome. Dogs are incredible. They only love you. I can't tell you how grateful I am for the doggos I have. And my family. And all that fun stuff. They're one of the things that I'm doing to keep myself going. Dogs are amazing. And family is too. Rest on the things that are good. And you can survive through almost any hell. So, that's all I got for you today. It's kind of a longer video here. Hope you enjoy. Go ahead and let me know what you think. Love y'all. Peace.